Hello guys, today I'm gonna show you how to do Ajax with Zen Framework 2 and JavaScript, of course. So I'm gonna show it three different ways: pure JavaScript, jQuery and Dojo, with these two different toolkits. So in order to show you that, I have my ingredients. That's GitHub, Codenvy, which is my IDE, and AppFoc, which plays the role of my development server. So let's start. I'm gonna do this in module FMI students. So first, let's start by creating a service action. Right now I'm finishing with the function change action, which is helping me to change the layout. I'm gonna create one action which will supply my JavaScript application with data. So if you look at on the map, on the mind map, you'll find this in the service branch. So let me look at here. I'm gonna copy the code and paste it. And usually we need to disable the layout, because all we need is whatever the view script is returning. We are not interested in getting the layout. What I'm gonna send to my Ajax, to JavaScript, is a HTML snippet. Of course, could be sent JSON, XML, or JavaScript, for example. What I'm gonna return, as I said, now it's a HTML snippet, which is gonna replace the content of one of the HTML elements right now. So here we go. Service Ajax. This is how I name it. Let me start my zoom it so I can point eventually if I need to. So here we go. I just have created a new action in my controller, index controller, in the module FMI student, where I'm experimenting as a professor. Okay, I have to first disable the layout. This is done this way: view model, new view model, and we have to set terminal true, and that's enough to disable the layout. And after that we return the view model. We don't send any variables to our view script. Okay, next thing to do is create the view script. Index action. My view script is gonna be called, of course, service Ajax. Okay, and the content I'm gonna show you in a second. The content is whatever JavaScript snippet do you like to have. In this case I have a lorem ipsum, and the explanation of what is lorem ipsum. A very standard HTML. Actually it's a standard text, nothing else, as you can see. That's it. I'm gonna save this as well. If we want to test this, it's gonna be a little bit pain, because we have to do add, commit and push, and they're very expensive right now because there is no web server integrated in our IDE, in our cloud IDE. So let's continue working. Let's get all the code done, and after that we will test in our development server. Further, I'm gonna show you that we can use as a development server AppFoc. This is much faster, and the best solution, of course, is to have a web server here integrated in the IDE. I spoke with R&D manager of the company, Codenvy, and he promised that we should stay tuned. Soon there will be a web server integrated. So with a simple click of a button we will be able to run the server and see how the code looks actually in the browser. Okay, so until we are waiting, we just will put more code, and after that do add, commit and push. Okay, next thing is to load actually our JSON application, if you want to call it this way. Okay, so start first with a pure JavaScript application. Controller. First, in order to load the application, we will use a separate action which I'm gonna call JS Ajax. Ajax because it's a pure JavaScript. So what I'm gonna do is view model, new view model. This familiar for us. We're gonna change the layout and return the model, the view model. That's it, nothing more. Now the interesting part comes in the view script. Let me create now the view script, which correlates to this action, JS Ajax. Oops, phpcloud of course, and I have to rename this folder, this file as well. Oh yeah, because it's open, I cannot rename. phpcloud. Rename. I'm gonna rename this file as well because this view script is not simple PHP file. phpcloud. Okay, the view scripts are ready for both actions, for the service and the first experiment. Let me add something more. What if we want to return, instead of just HTML snippets, JSON? So I'm gonna show you this also. Here we go, how the controller looks. I forgot to put the view script, but I'm gonna create it right now. I have the code and I'm gonna add it to the mind map. So, oops, I didn't copy. Very simple. No, if I select everything and just type tab, is not working. Okay, so public function service JSON action view model return view model. Now let me create the view script here, PHP action, and as you can guess, because it correlates to service JSON, should be called service JSON phpcloud create. And there is a view helper which I'm gonna use. Now let me look at in my code. FMI students view FMI student index jQuery Ajax. It's a very simple one, and I'm gonna add it right now to the mind map because I forgot to do that. So everybody will be able to copy this from the mind map, if not from the repository. Cancel that. jQuery, oops, no, service JSON. It's a very simple. It's only one line of code. Maybe that's why I didn't put it in the mind map. Let me put it first in the mind map. View script. Note. That's it. Close it. Now let me create it here. So that's it. It's very simple. Echo this JSON, this data. This view script supposed to stop the layout. It didn't do it for some reason in my experiments, so I have been forced to do the same what I did above in this method. In other words, I stopped the layout manually. I said set terminal true, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have two services. One is returning HTML, another one is returning JSON. And we have the first action, which actually is gonna load our Ajax application, which is gonna be pure JavaScript application. Okay, let's return now to this view script, the view script which correlates actually, and it's used in our JS Ajax action. And let's get this done. Here we go. It should be called JS Ajax, as you can see here in the mind map as well. And I will explain you in a second what it does. Okay, because we're gonna use our standard layout, and in this layout, let me show you the layout. FMI student. In this layout, as you can see, we're using the view helpers, the Zen view helpers. We have to set their values in our view. So doc type will be printed here. Content type, text HTML, meta will be printed here, will be used here. These values will be used there. Head meta, head link. Style sheet, fonts, Google API, CSS, family, bitter. This is just for experiment. I'm loading Google APIs, CSS. Actually, this comes directly from the template which I'm using. And here it is, the interesting part: FMI student CSS and FMI student JavaScript JS. Just to be consistent, I'm loading the application, actually, the JavaScript application, which has the same name, and it is in a public folder in a FMI student subfolder, and it's called again JS Ajax. So let me create this JavaScript application, this file, and as I said, you can use it directly from the mind map or in the GitHub. So FMI students, I have to create, of course, new folder which is called JavaScript, and I'm creating a new JavaScript file called JS Ajax, and I'm gonna copy and paste the content from the mind map, and I'm gonna explain you what it does. Actually, Ajax has three parts. This is do manipulation, remoting, and dynamic behavior. We'll see all of that now. See how much code we have to put in the JavaScript file in order to get it working. Just to turn back to the server, extract a small snippet of code and replace the content of one DOM element with whatever we get from the server. So let me explain what's going on here. Window on load, we're creating an event handler, which is a function. we're selecting actually an element, HTML element with ID box 3. Let me show you the layout. Actually, we have it here. So I'm trying to select actually box 3, this div tag, this element will be selected, and after that the content will be replaced with the snippet which comes from our view script. Right now I don't have it open. Let me look at again. Probably I close it. It's quite simple. Let me show you again. Let me just open this. My student service Ajax. Here we go. We are going to replace whatever we have in this div here. We are going to replace its content with whatever comes from our service Ajax. Okay, this was the goal, so let me show you how it's done. Let me explain you a little bit the code. So first thing is to get this element by ID. Now we define on mouse over function literal, as you can see, and what we are doing here, of course, sorry about the wrong indent, it comes from the mind map and it's not properly done, so I'm gonna do it right now, right in front of you. This event handler gets one parameter, and this parameter on different browsers actually looks differently. On Windows, in the old Windows Internet Explorer 6, there is no even parameter sent to the function, argument sent to the function. In this case, we just have to get the event object directly from the object window. This is how it used to work in Internet Explorer 6. So first thing to do is get the event. This is the function on mouse over, as I said. Okay, element. After that we need the target element. We get it from the event object. There is a property called target on Firefox, Chrome and all other browsers, but not Internet Explorer. In Internet Explorer is called src element. So in any case, we have now the event object, we get access to the element object, and now here I'm defining another variable which is called XML HTTP, and I'm setting it to null, this initialization. So now the next thing is to figure out if the browser supports actually XHR, supports Ajax. Can we turn back to the server and get something asynchronously? So, and this is done here in this if statements. So window XML HTTP request. This is for Internet Explorer 7 and higher, Firefox, Chrome, Opera, Safari. This is how we get access to the object XML HTTP request. Else, ActiveX object. This is for Internet Explorer 6 and 5. And finally, we give up and we can inform our user that your browser doesn't support XHR. I'm showing here the base URL. I just want to see the base URL. I'm going to show you why. Just want to be sure that when I turn back to the server to get the information from there, I have the right URL. Your application could be, for example, in a subfolder, could be installed in a subfolder. In this case, the base URL will be different. So we'll see the base URL is going to be displayed. And by the way, I'm going to show you where did I set it. Here we go. In the view script, I have to set the base URL just to make sure that the base URL is available for my JavaScript application. The same way this base URL is available in my PHP Zen Framework 2 application. Okay, so this is what I do in the view script, just to prepare one variable, one global variable, JavaScript global variable. And after that, this is how I use it. I just want to see it, and after that I say XML HTTP open. I'm gonna use method get, and I'm turned to my service Ajax method, which is action in my Zen Framework application. After that, I send. Before that, of course, we have to prepare the listeners, the event listeners. That's very, very bad. I don't have the right indents, so let me do something else. Actually, I'm gonna use my local machine here, and I'm gonna copy, not from the mind map, but I'm gonna copy from directly from the JavaScript, which is gonna save me a lot of time. If my student JavaScript, and this is what I need. The same code without the proper indentation we have in the mind map, so you can use it in the mind map, or as I said later, actually it has a right indents, I guess, but something happens in the Codenvy in any case. So let me continue now. So the first thing is to figure out, does the browser support XHR object, which will allow us to turn back to the server and get data without refreshing the page. This is the code between line 13 and 25. After that, I'm showing myself the base URL, which I'm sending to the JavaScript. Actually, I'm setting this base URL variable here in the view script. I'm just getting the base URL from, actually this should be echo this var, it should be base path, of course, not base URL. And it should be a variable, should be a function, base path. Let me correct this here. I made a mistake yesterday for some reason. This is a base path. I'll correct it here. Oops, sorry about that. Let me continue now. After doing this correction, base path, forgot the brackets, round brackets. Okay, so that's it. Base path, we're sending this to the variable called base URL, and I'm using it in my JavaScript to turn to the server and call this action service Ajax and get the HTML snippet. After that, I'm preparing the event listeners on the event onReadyState change function. So when ready state is 4 and we have success, then we change the content on our element, which as you can see is box 3. Okay, and when this all will happen, okay, so when we are calling actually the onMouseOver function, so we are calling this onMouseOver the element. So again, the code between 44 and 56, as you can see, it's taking care of the dynamic behavior. So what we do here is element at event listener, that's for Firefox, Chrome and all other modern browsers. We add event listener to this div tag mouse over, and we execute our function on mouse over, which is here. It's gonna turn back to the server, get the code and replace the content. Here we go. And because of the browser's incompatibilities, we have to check if this browser is an old one, Internet Explorer 7 or 6, and use instead at event listener, we have to use attach event. Okay, so element attach event, and we call exactly the same function, which function, as I said, will do the magic, will go back to the server and get the snippet. And finally, this is the oldest Doom 0 standard. We do onMouseOver and we call again the same function, onMouseOver. So everything is going to happen when I move my mouse over the element box 3. Okay, I'm going to show you that. So that's it, we're prepared. Let me repeat again. I have created an action in my controller, which actually is gonna load the JavaScript application. I have the function, the view script. Here it is. I'm loading this JavaScript file, which contains the application, and I have created the application itself, JS Ajax. And I told you what I did in 3 simple steps. First, I'm getting the element. This is DOM manipulation, and we are doing DOM manipulation here as well when we change the content. Here it is. Second, we prepare the function which is gonna do the magic, is gonna turn to the server with the help of the object XML HTTP request. We'll return to the server, get the HTML snippet, and replace the content of our element. And finally, we attach an event listener to this element. All this complication comes from the browser's incompatibilities. Okay, so let me save that and do git add, git commit, git push, and let's see if our application works. If it doesn't, we'll figure out what's wrong. Okay, so now, not this way, git add. It's a very expensive one. It's a very expensive operation. I may pause and after that resume the record. Actually, it didn't take too long. Here we go. We have added to Git. Let me do git status just to show you the files which have been added. Okay. On branch master, changes to be committed, blah blah. Module FMI student index GS action, which is the view script of our application. Actually, this is a view script of one action which loads a JavaScript application. Service JSON, this returns a JSON. Object service Ajax returns simple HTML snippet. Here it is, our JavaScript application which does the magic, and of course our index controller where we have added our actions. Okay, so now we do git commit, and I'm gonna say pure JavaScript. And finally I will do git push first to Zend. Probably I have been kicked out, but thank you God I'm not. So let me check again status. On branch master nothing to commit, so we are ready to push to Zend. Push. Okay, so let's see now our application. We didn't break anything, so it's in FMI student, and the application is called JS Ajax. Let's see if the magic happens. Okay, so let me show you something. This is our block, which we are gonna change by the use of Ajax. So when I move my mouse over, eventually this is gonna change. Here it is, base URL FMI. Here we go. Here we go. As you can see, it has been changed. That's it, folks. So I showed to you how to do Ajax with the help of Zend Framework 2 and the pure JavaScript. In the next lecture I'm going to show you how to do the same thing with the help of jQuery, and in the third lecture with the help of Dojo. Thank you for your attention.